Hey, welcome in live. It's day 3 of Country Radio Seminar
morning.
2000. Made it to the third day. It's a half a day till noon. It's going to be fast and furious to and right out of the gate. Thanks to Bangtail Whiskey, our friends over at Honky Tonk Texas, and Gentle Ben Spirits out there. Check out our sponsors at the bottom of the screen here. Powered by the Sports Guys Podcast.com. Brandon Morrell and Kirsty Krause here. And The Girl I Was, the EP coming out March 31st. She's a friend of the show and a friend of ours, Jenna Paulette at CRS. What is that?
Hi. Just having a good day.
It's been a good day.
We're kicking it off today.
Yes.
Are we your first interview as well? Okay.
Yes, definitely.
Well, tell us about this because there are a few select songs out on The Girl I Was. Comes out March 31st.
Yeah.
I've got to listen to it. My kid is singing select songs off of it that people get to listen to. Some of the best fresh music I've heard so far. Can't wait to hear the rest of the album. Talk about the project.
Yeah.
So
Anywhere the Wind blows.
Yes.
Just came out March 3rd.
Yes,
So this
yeah.
is exciting.
thank you. So this is my debut record, and it was a labor of love, and I think it took me a minute to feel like I had a body of work that would warrant being on record, because I very much believe in records and albums from artists, because I just think it's so important to be able to put together a body of work and know who you are enough to be able to have everything kind of point back to that thing. And I had gotten out of a really long relationship that was really not good, and so thanks.
So we get into
Yeah.
some of those songs.
Yeah,
get
we
into
do.
it,
Yeah, and really the title track does. And it was the one that I think I felt the most safe starting to discuss what happened. And, I don't bash people or anything like that. And I don't really care to get into the nitty gritty of it. But I think the point of getting out of it was to be able to get back to myself.
Yeah, and talk about your change.
Yes.
And that's
Yeah.
what the song is.
Exactly. So I was on a writer's retreat, and I was kind of coming out of a lot of counseling and a lot of processing and all of that good stuff, and was like, okay, well, we want to put out a record. I knew we wanted to do that, but I was like, what is it? What is the thing that is going to be the song that makes everything make sense? And I was with Jesse Joe Dillon, Will Bundy, and Jeb Gibson. They're two. Jeb and Will are guys I write with all the time. Jessie was my first weekend writing with her, and I absolutely love her. And I was going to get pizza for everybody the first night, and
Making friends.
yes, yeah. And I had my dog in the front seat of my truck, and I was just driving, the sun was setting, and I was like, gosh, like, what am I missing? What song do I need to write? And this picture of me as a little girl popped into my head. I was helping my granddad sell our Uncle Hake's cattle, and I had an orange Gatorade in my hand, like a canned one, and my freckles were out. I had sunstreaks and little braids in my hair, and I was sitting up on top of this white fence, and I just remember looking back on that picture growing up and recognizing for the first time, like, I love that girl, like,
Yeah.
and remembering how the air felt and like how much purpose I
Just
had.
in your element.
Yeah,
at that moment.
like I just knew who I was, and every time I looked at that picture, I thought, oh, I like her, and so I was like, well, I guess I'm just getting back to the girl I was. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's the song we need to write. That's it. And I came back and I was like, y'all, yes, from the pizza run. I was like, y'all, like, if we don't write another song this weekend, if we write The Girl I Was, I will feel like we did justice, to this. And then I was on a flight to Wyoming to do this little trip with Boot Barn. And I called my manager when I landed. I was like, okay, the album's called The Girl I Was. It kicks off with Home on the Range as an intro and an outro, just an instrumental version of the song. And then everything in between talks about the journey of getting back to the girl I was, and then what the people that are from where I'm from, what they do, how they live, the things that are important to them, because those are the things that I feel like I'm getting back to.
I love that. It sounds like everything just clicked in that moment, and you were like, this is how I wrap up this whole project.
Yep.
This is the direction.
Yep.
Well, we certainly are digging the music. So Anywhere the Wind Blows, talk about that, just released.
I feel like I'm just living my truth and all of that right now, and that sounds so stupid coming out of my mouth, but it is the truth. Like I'm in the best relationship I've ever been in, and there's so much peace in it, and I really I think that song, every word of it I mean, and it's the first time I've been able to sing a love song and mean it from the stage. And my mom and everybody in my family is like, gosh, it's so good to see you smile and sing every one of those lyrics. Yeah.
Oh.
So it's a beautiful thing, and I'm so grateful for it. And I feel like that song really helped me tap into exactly where I'm headed as an artist too. Like the fiddle on it, like the way that it feels so down home but still current, just made me go, okay, I can be exactly who I am and have it work in country music. And I also think that girls are kind of missing somebody that represents them, in a very real way. Because I work on ranches all the time. Like I cowgirl as much as I do music. And
I love that.
Thank
I love
you.
that sentence. I cowgirl as much as I do music.
You got a great Texas following down there, and I talk to people at radio stations all the time. But this song, "You Ain't No Cowboy," to me is a top 10 on the PDA station, because you do some amazing things with your vocals, and the album itself. I can't wait to hear the rest of it. 5 select songs out there right now. People can go stream on there too. Comes out March 31st. But great story behind that one, I'm sure it's got to be.
Thank you. Well, honestly, the story is in the day that we wrote the song. I think I was definitely processing some of the things that I was about to choose, like decision-wise, walking away from a relationship for sure. But I sat down with Brett Akins that day. It was the first day that I had written with him, and it was like, oh my gosh, what do you bring to a Rhett, right? And, and I knew that he loved history because Will and I had talked about that, and we started talking about this book called Empire of the Summer Moon, which is about Juana Parker's last Comanche chief. Anyways, I won't get into it. I'm a nerd about history, especially like Western history because it's where I live, So,
That's cool.
yeah, so Rhett and I started talking about that, and he was like, Jenna, you need to play Cheyenne. You need to play Cheyenne. I will be there when you play Cheyenne. Let's write a song for that show. And Cheyenne's like the biggest rodeo and one of the most historic rodeos in the United States, and has been a big dream of mine forever. And when we sat down, I was like, well, I got this title. It's called "You Ain't No Cowboy," and he was like, oh my gosh, you got the hat, you got the saddle, you got the hat, you got the cattle, you put a million miles on that saddle. And we just kind of rolled through that. I mean, it took us a minute to get it really right, because I think what's important to people that grew up like I did is that they're not represented how Hollywood represents them. Like there's this
Fair point.
Yeah, there's like a stigma for cowboys that they always ride off into the sunset, and that they always do, the things that, like they're drunk all the time, and like all of these things. It's so wild to me, because the men that I grew up around were the guys that took their hats off at the kitchen table and prayed and shook your hand, and you knew kind of the content of their character by how firm their grip was. And when they said they were going to do something, they did it, and they were there on time, and they were respectful of women. And there's that way that like real cowboys actually live. And so to me, it's like when you ride off into the sunset, you ain't no cowboy at all. And so that's what that whole song is about for me.
Coming up on this album release, leading into it, you're now named Apple Music's March Country Riser of the Month. There's so much going on around this debut album. How exciting is all of this?
Oh, it's wild. I mean, like, I couldn't believe it when they called me and told me that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, because I don't think they've had somebody that's not signed to a major label.
Right. Having Apple Music behind you, and then being named CMT Next Movement of Country in 2022, like just keeps flowing. Going on tour with Aaron Watson. What was that like? Was it
so
fun?
awesome? I will say he is one of the best dudes.
He told me to tell you hi, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
I just talked to him a couple weeks ago.
Oh, he's just the man. Like,
he was on the show. Yeah.
I'm so blessed. It's like he just takes such good care of me. Like his bus is like pretty much dry. Like there's not a whole lot of alcohol in there, so there's not a lot of like wildness happening. It's just like I feel safe. I'm riding the bus with the guys. Sterling and Damien, his fiddle player and utility player, are playing for me, and like I don't know, I just couldn't be more blessed. It's my crowd, so I'm getting to really do my thing in front of people that will get it every night, and it's just the biggest blessing. So I'm so grateful for him.
I look forward to having you back on too as well. Here when the album's released that week, April 3rd, we can feel full. Have you play a little bit, talk?
Yes, The Girl I Was coming out
I
soon.
love this album, March 31st. The Girl I Was. Thank you so much for
this
being
is so
down
much
here.
fun.
I am goosebumps right now.
Very
One to watch.
excited for
Texas
you.
Market, Jenna Paulette here, live at CRS 2023. Next time you come on, we're definitely going to do some rapid fire.
Let's do it.
Cannot wait.
Perfect. Do it.
See you guys. Shenandoah coming up next. Hang around.